Hello everyone, this is Sketcher Pete here again. Day 3 of the March of Robots, or I suppose we're still on day 1 considering that I haven't finished this piece yet. School is tough to combine with work. But let's get into it. Okay, so where we last left off was we had finished just about here. Working on the arms and the legs, or the treads. Now, I had actually seen a webinar today from Graphicsly, and on this very subject of constructing a robot. And he had some very interesting things to say about how his design process for robots, how he makes it look functional. And of course, granted I'm only an amateur artist, but that's not an excuse to... That's not to say that I can't improve in this. So I just gotta remember where the arms actually are. So I think we decided on blue gloves, and suppose we could do chrome arms. That's generally the way it goes. Blue and yellow tends to go very well together. But it won't be pure yellow, of course. It'll be probably a goldish color. Actually, that seems about right. I'll add that to our palette. Of course, normally I've been using the color history, but it's just easier to alt and select what I want to color. So we need something below that. Then we need something below the ink layer, but above these layers. Perhaps at the point of intersection, we'll add chrome colors. Alright, so, anyway, once again, how are y'all doing today? Because personally, I'm doing actually pretty well. Doing good on a project for school. Adobe Animate, which I don't actually own, it's the school's. But it's a decent software to use. It is from Adobe, so it's pretty expensive, but if you work with Austin Community College, if you're in this area, same as me, then you get a $10 purchase for an entire semester of Adobe Animate CC. We're not using Adobe Animate. We're using Clip Studio Paint today because I like it better personally. And also it's more tailored to my area of expertise, so to speak. Forgive me, I'm still a bit under the weather. That does that part. This is here. Let's see. Honestly, there really isn't much to do here other than just talk. Because again, I have no expertise at editing. For example, I don't even know how to input audio outside of recording the video. So that's a major problem. So honestly, I just will be talking and drawing. That'll be the sort of content you see on this channel. I will definitely do gaming, but that'll be an eventual thing. Because the problem is I can't do gaming now because the watermark, the big giant Filmora across the screen is very obstructive to your view. I want y'all to get the full experience of the game. So I decided to make the nut and bolt areas chrome. We'll make the wire type things red or blue or green. I think we'll make them sort of a reddish. See, anyway, this is prompt 1 of March of Robots, and the prompt is chunky. So when I think of chunky, I tend to think of an excavation bot. You know, rock formations, giant loads of metal. That or beef stew. There, here. The next prompt is actually going to be more exciting this to me. It's danger. And believe me, there are many things involving danger that can be considered dangerous. You know, when I think of a dangerous robot, I think of the Iron Giant. Now you might wonder, why the Iron Giant? Isn't he a good robot? Well, yes, he is. But he was designed as a weapon by the Russians, circa 1990s. You know, around the fall of the Soviet Union. There's a lot to be done here. Yeah, when I think of danger, I think of buzzsaws, laser cannons, plasma drills, all sorts of things. A weapon is only as good as the person who wields it, and what constitutes a weapon is only limited by the artist's imagination. Or just imagination in general. Of course, again, I am an amateur at this, so I'm not going to be the best. Because I've already failed the one drawing a day quota for the March prompt, but again, the month of March is just a month of robots. Let's see. You know, there's a game called MoR Robots, which is actually a really fun game, if you have the hard drive space for it. There are a lot of things to do, a lot of people to destroy. And honestly, that's where I get a lot of my weapon ideas when it comes to robotics. Other games include things such as Warframe or, let's see, what's another? You know, Monster Hunter. And even Horizon Zero Dawn, which I never had the pleasure of playing, but I did see someone else play it, so I'm very satisfied with what I saw. Had a lot of ideas for weapons and robotics in general. Save real quick. It's very tiring on my arm to try to draw the way I am. These will be some fun brushes to use at other times. The big problem with Clips View Paint, or just me, is, I can't read whatever language the brushes are in. So I have to rely on the strokes, on the actual stroke of the brush to know what I'm doing. So let's see, it's just about done. Just about out of the golden age. Although, what things do you guys want to talk about, or just what do you want me to talk about in videos generally? It can be pretty much anything. Pretty much anything. Don't go ham. Don't take my complete word for it. There are a lot of things that people would want me to talk about that I generally shouldn't. Oh boy. Let's see. Onward to the chrome phase. Yellow stuff. You'll know why I misspelled it. If you've seen Gary's Mod Idiot box, that is. And he's missing a thruster. Gotta fix that. Whoa. My brushes are exploding on themselves. Okay, that was weird. Yeah, my tablet does that sometimes. Maybe it's the software. I don't know. Again, the tablet I use, the Cintiq, is a Wacom Cintiq 22 HD. Let's reset this brush, honestly. Okay, so it is running how it's supposed to. And you might end up looking that up and thinking, it's very, very expensive. How do you afford this? You say you can't afford other things. Well, the thing is, I didn't buy this from the official website. I got this from a third-party site called Nextdoor, to where there are various neighborhood events. Oh, I can see why it's not working the way I wanted it to now. I was using the wrong brush. Nope, that wasn't it. Yep, this is it. but there's not always going to be things like this available on Nextdoor. And generally buying used equipment is a lot cheaper than buying new equipment. In this case, it was a perfectly good Cintiq 22 HD, but the previous owner just didn't want it. She said it was too big for her apartment, and so Dad and I bought it for $425, because this is a display tablet. This is what plugs into your computer using an HDMI cable and USB import, or USB plug, that actually projects what would be on your computer screen. And you can draw on it, so it's basically like a giant digital drawing pad. I will say I definitely will need an equipment upgrade eventually, but for now this is good. I mean, this thing normally goes for $1,700. So $425 is an extremely generous amount. It's an extremely generous price. Okay, where is I? Chrome. That's right. Let's go. I'm using a Dell Windows 98 keyboard, so a Windows 95 keyboard, so it's very loud. Kind of like any other gaming keyboard. But hey, I like it. Chrome. What's a good Chrome color? That's a decent one, but that's a brown. Another thing that inspires me about robots is the character Dog from Half-Life 2. He's adorable. He's a big, friendly, murderous robot of doom. Half-Life series is a very fun series. I'm just very disappointed in how it turned out. Not that it wasn't good. It was amazing. It's probably some of the best games I've played. That series is probably the best series I've played. But just spoiler alert. Well, actually, no, not so much spoiler alert. It leaves you on a cliffhanger. That's all I'm going to say. It's very tough to live with. Then Half-Life Alyx came out, but that takes place between the first two games. And it's in VR only, so yeah, I'm not going to be dishing out $600 for a headpiece. Though fun it may seem, it's not much different than just a party trick. Excuse me. Okay. Back to the task at hand. You know what? I realized another thing that's good to talk about. Dogs. I love dogs. They're very loyal. At least some dogs are. Others, they go to whoever wants to give them a belly rub or a pet. Like pets on the head. Maybe a little scratch behind the ear. But for that small, but the small price of lifetime of food, lifetime of love, and a lifetime of water, and belly rubs, and kisses, is a loyalty or companionship that no one else could give to you. Black Labs and Boxers are probably my two favorite breeds of dog. That and Pit Bulls. You know, Pit Bulls can be very sweet. They tend to get a bad rap. Or a bad rep because of the dog fights they're often involved in. But hey. Every dog is different. I've got 2 rescue puppies myself. Or at least my family does. I'm not quite out of the house yet. But hey, as usual. Nothing new there when you can't drive. I'm going off on a weird tangent. Sorry about that. Let's see, I'm going to take a quick look at the prompt list. Third one is shocked. So that'll be fun to do. An electrical robot. Of course, all of them run on electricity. Well, you know, maybe some don't. Maybe some run by some sort of arcane power. There really isn't much to commentate on. Sometimes this just is. I like cats too, though. I do prefer dogs. Or lizards. Or birds. Just always had a fascination with creatures in general. I suppose that's one of the reasons I love the game Subnautica so much. Because there's just so much to explore. Wrong layer. Oh, I see what my problem was. I'll just be cautious. Yeah, that's not going to work. objective is to finish this by the end of tonight. Again, this will be a very ragtag sort of thing. Change the opacity to about 75 here. You know what, one of the things I think of when I think of danger nowadays is Danger Meter and Dauntless. Dauntless is a Monster Hunter style game made by Phoenix Labs. Very good play. Very, very fun to play. Save real quick, as it's always good to do. And honestly, I'm not just going to be doing robots this March. If you have any suggestions, leave it in the comments below. I'll see what I can do. Because at the end of the day, I'm here to provide content you guys want. At least most of y'all want. Yeah, I don't really know how to word that. Because on the one hand, you can't please everybody. On the other hand, you can please everyone in your demographic. And on the third hand, which, why would you have a third hand? It's only two hands. I don't know, maybe you had some sort of strange invitation or gift. I guess that could happen. Yeah, but as I was saying, on the third hand, yeah, there are content that some people just aren't interested in. Just, you know, touch and go with this channel. Oh, did I forget to do the other arm? That's my next question I need to ask myself. let's look at another prompt list. Another thing on the prompt list. 3. That can mean a lot of things. 3 arms, 3 heads, 3 Ds like Melee. Could mean 3 eyes, 3 guns. 3 fingers? I don't know. I gotta say, this is very fun to do. Designing robots. Not my usual cup of tea, but it actually turns out to be pretty fun. So I really hope y'all will stick with me. I just hope there isn't an algorithm for the word GUN. Because I've heard at some points that that's actually how YouTube works. But the algorithm constantly changes, and so I guess that's just for better or for worse. Because that's what it is, you know, because that's what you use to shoot down other robots. Is a GUN. Can't believe I'm nearly done. At least for this one. And then it's on to the next. Then I'll wait for another episode. Let's take a quick look. Looking pretty good. Looking pretty good. Let's get some treads on this guy. And some thrusters. Full thrusters! I suppose another thing with Photoshop or Adobe Animate or After Effects is they tend to crash a lot. That's just what I've heard. And I've actually encountered it a few times, but that's another reason I like Clip Studio Paint. You know, it's cheap, it's affordable, it's of great quality, there are an infinite amount of brushes to choose from. Once you look for materials on a website, that is. You can find Clip Studio assets. take another look again. This is without the outline. We are indeed in the final stages. First up, let's add some detail for the wire up here. This thing. He's very lonely. Let's change that. You gotta do something about this tube right here, so we're just gonna call this layer tube stuff. So let's see, there's that. That's that color. Let's make it a bit brighter, and we'll do the gears. Using the G pen. Need to zoom in a bit for this. Yep, it's dark enough to distinguish. That's good. Sorry if I go silent for a moment. I've got other thoughts going on in my head. Artists are weird that way. Drop a like if you said bless you. Oh boy, I'm a little late to some of these jokes. Oh, what can I say? I'm an artist, not a comedian. My comedy side is a bit darker than most. That's why it ain't for this channel. It'll be for a different channel though. We'll make that one the lightest of chrome. This is indeed turning out very nicely. Very, very nicely. Add rims to that. And I'll play some Sundred Eldritch Edition after this. Very good game. Completely hand-drawn 2D Metroidvania. You may not know what that means. Look it up. That's generally how it goes when it comes to gaming, when all else fails. Let's make it slightly lighter. And we'll make that the bottom of the thrusters. Shoot. Give me one moment. I spilled... Sorry about that. I can pause and resume the recording on demand, so that's why there was only a short time. So back to what we were doing before the water debacle. Right, we have this stuff to finish. I gotta finish out quickly. It's nearing the end of the night. And I have school tomorrow night. I also have a bunch of stuff to do in between that, so I've gotta say, this has been a very fun experience. It's all the more apparent how good this is towards the end of the recording. Or towards the end of the drawing session, that is. Why not add some ready? No, let's not add some right there. So apparently, getting into detail about, or getting into the very tiny miniature details is called noodling. It's a funny term. The more you know. I don't know what you'll do with that information, but now you have it. Let's add a bright blue for his eyes. How about that? Too blue. Still too blue. All right. I shall clean this up momentarily. Ah, too much. Too much. Nope. G-pen, there we go. Let's put it to 2. Which is that? Still too thin. Decently thick. There we go. I need to zoom in for this. Too much. There we go. Save it real quick, just in case. I gotta say, I am very satisfied with how this is turning out. I'm not very familiar in the world of color. I'm familiar with sketching, black and white, but nothing in color. So this is the first for me, and I'm pleasantly surprised. Suppose this episode will go longer than usual hour today. Or 30 minutes, depending on how much time I normally have. How it works is, normally it takes about an hour to record, and 2 hours, or maybe a little over that, to export. And then it takes about 30 minutes to 40 minutes to actually, it might take 50 to completely upload and process to YouTube. Along with description and specifications. So yeah, it ain't really a simple process, or if it is a simple process, it's a very long process. Alright, tube stuff. About time we got to this. That's a good color. I like that color immediately. That is good. And my brush is doing that thing again. Okay, now it's not anymore. Sometimes these brushes are weird. All right. Just under the bubbles. I like this color too. So many good colors today. We'll add some stuff here too. Perhaps these feed into each other. Perhaps the goop is part of a generation. Could be some sort of alien version of nitrous oxide, which helps us speed up cars exponentially. But it's illegal in races, so you can't use it. It's very bad. This takes a lot longer than I expected, but it'll be worth it. That's a decent rock color. That's a better rock color. I'm sorry guys, I really do not have much to talk about this late at night when I'm almost done with the drawing. I'm just sort of in work mode right now. And I've genuinely ran out of things to talk about, so. Again, if you have something y'all want me to talk about, just sort of fill in the noise. Let me know in the comments below. Once I find out how to, I can put background music. The only problem is copyright. There's lots of it. All right. Let's cut this down to size, don't we? There's a tiny solar panel up here. And we'll switch back to the red. All right. I believe that about does it. There's but one thing to do. Delete that layer. Save it. And finally, for the finishing touch, my signature. I gotta tell you, I do not write well, so bear with me. Maybe it'd be easier if we put the size down. Also, let's make it sort of soft. Signatures are very hard to do. You know, let's try using a different brush. It's an oil brush. I'm not going to use that. That'll do better. Yep. And that is it. Again, I'm not good at writing. I'm good at drawing, decently good at painting, but I do not write well. Look at that. A literal work of art. So that about covers it. Thank you all for watching. Stick around for the next video, and I'll see you all next time.